Everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to class today. I think in the last class we looked at useRef, and we saw that you could use it in place of controlled inputs. Use it in place of a controlled input. So as we already know, controlled inputs are inputs that you use your states to manage, whereas if you're using useRef, you are not using, you're not managing it with state. So let me just go to that. Yeah, so you have, so what we did was, I'm just going over this for what we did was that you set up your ref, you bind your ref to your ref container. So remember, this is our input. Normally, what we would have done is if we're using normal controlled inputs, we'll say value and then put some value here. We'll now say on change and do the whole update set whatever. So and then we pass event the target value. So this is how we would have done it without the ref. So but since we are using ref, you just need the ref, and then you have to create a variable that will hold that ref and the ref. So here in what we had is const of the ref container, and then we set it to null initially. So by default, it's going to be empty. So whenever we now fill it, we have a value stored inside there, and then we have our button here. So when we click on submit, it now comes here. So you say let updated people be ref container dot current. So ref has this, it has an object inside it that contains current. So you target ref container dot current, then you want to get the value. So when you get the value, you now use it to update your state, and with that you're able to display it. Then we also learned that for ref, you can use it on any element. So I used it on a div here where I had banana island, and that banana island, what I did was whenever I click on submit, I am able to select the div container. Remember, ref div container, and then you get the current. So why we had to target values, because input, you need to get the value here. But this one, you target the current. You now add the style attribute here, and then you also give it a color, more like you're writing JavaScript here, and you say is equals to red. So when you do this, you're able to style this particular element with JavaScript. So that's what it basically does. So that was like the basic thing for ref, or for useRef. You can use it to do multiple things. You can use it to style, you can use it to access input. Then because we're using this to update states. So what we did was, after doing this, we now had to reset it back to an empty string. Unlike, yeah, same thing that you would do with a state. When you finish submitting it and you've gotten the values, you now have to reset it to an empty state. So that's the same thing that happens here. Then another thing is that it doesn't trigger a re-render. Your user doesn't trigger a re-render. So immediately after doing this thing, it doesn't re-render the page. So basically you have to like set the state and all of that. But when you're using use states, after on every change you're re-rendering. Every change you're re-rendering. That's the way, that's the difference between use state, use yeah, use state, user. Okay. Okay, so I don't know, are we clear on that? Um, does anybody have any question on that?
No questions.
Okay. Hmm? Just a moment, let me pull up. All right, so what I'm going to do is I already have. So we're going to use user. Forget the plenty code I've written here. I'm actually going to clear it. And we'll start from scratch. Okay, so why? I think what I basically need, I just need.
Hello, sir, Mr. Akoshiko. I wanted to say, can you make a copy of that in another component and keep it? So that later you can come back to it and
Okay, it's actually
instead of playing it.
okay.
Okay, yes.
Right. I think that works. So let me just create a new file. Just call it old reducer. Okay, so a couple of these things, let me just remove like most parts. I still need the form. I don't come and start creating form from scratch again. Remove default state, reducer, okay, modals. All right, so I think this is just our bare inputs. All right, so this is actually, I need everybody to follow along. So we're able to like, just going to remove this, do this properly. Okay, so what I intend doing here is, let me run this. npm run there. All right. Okay, so I think we have a couple of broken things, Yeah, that's a result of, so let me just, so I have handle submit, I have some states which I've actually not declared. So let me just create them. Hope you guys can still hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to create a handle submit. Not going to do anything in it yet, so we'll just do handle submit. That's supposed to be a constant under that. Handle submit. Okay, it's just a function that's so handle submission. Okay, and let me just create my states. So const, I had name and set name. So we're already familiar with this. And this is just going to call use states. Sounds like use states. Okay. And I'll just set it to an empty string. And what else do I need here? So I have one single input here. I need my people once because we're just going to be adding people. And I want to set people. An empty. All right. All right, so this is me, this is me. So I'll just say my H over here. Mainly my PC is slower than me. So I'll just have people. Okay. And I want to map through people. So if we have people, and so I'll just say people map. Hmm. Okay. So a single person speaking out. So I am just returning a H5, and this H5 is just going to contain person dot name. And I will put a key here. I'll just say key, say person dot ID. All right, so I don't think we should be broken anymore. Yeah, so certain no read undefined. Okay.
Like we don't have the person this thing yet.
Yeah, let me just say people dot length greater than 0. Well, okay, so that's a better way to handle that. So, uh, so in that instance now, so let's just go over useReducer. Why would you want to use useReducer in the first place? Now, the thing with we've been using states, yeah, We've been using state. But what happens if you have like a very large app? So what if your app starts growing bigger? And then other than that, what if you are working on a large team? So instead of using the whole use state, there's a better way of managing your state, managing changes, managing data. So that's where useReducer comes in. So useReducer when you have a more complicated application or when you want more structure in your state, when you want more structure. So you could use states. It still works perfectly. The good old days or the good old ways. Well, it's not even like the old days or all of that. People still prefer states because it's straightforward and all of that. So you could still use that. But an alternative can be when you're using useReducer. So they are quite similar. They are quite similar, but yeah, I'm going to come to that. I'm going to explain how they are similar. So okay, so to that regard, we're just going to do what we already know. Let's just see that it works, and then from there we go on. So for this to actually work, what we need to do is, yeah, can someone guide me? I want to add people and display those people. So what are the necessary things I need to do? Okay, I'm inside my handle submit. What do I need to do?
Let me give it a try. So
All right.
we need to pass a parameter e so as to
Okay.
prevent the cuts.
All right. So
In that prevent the cut.
okay.
So what's next? What next?
Okay. All
Mm.
right.
Okay, so this we are going to set Abi.
Yeah, let me
Looking like a
new
state this thing now.
set new person. Okay, and let me just I hope I'm actually on the person if I can spell. Okay, here we have to like form what we want to add into the states. So
we need name ID, Abi.
yeah, so we need an ID. And that ID we said is what we can cheat by doing new dates.
Mm.
The what did I say again? Yeah, so the get dates. So we get
Then
is
to
it get
string.
dates or get time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it get dates or get time? Which of them?
Get time. Get time dot to lower string.
Yeah, so I think get time. Yeah, to string dot to string. Okay. So
Yeah.
okay, so we have this, and then we need our name. Okay, so what I'll just do is let's just test this out, see what it gives us. CLG, so console log, you set up your own properly, and my PC is slow. Okay. All right, so let's see what this gives us. And pray that my hot reload is actually working. Last time it wanted to mess me up. Okay, so my input is actually ugly. Bear with me. So I just type gibberish inside here and I click on submit. And I have an ID, I have a name. Okay, so let me just add more. You see, we have like unique IDs, we have unique IDs, and we still have our input. Yeah, so, but then we need to reset this input. Okay, I think we need to add it first. So yeah, who was helping me? Oh, yeah. So what's the next thing? Okay, I can just say
Okay,
that.
so it says set people.
Okay. So set people. Yeah. Okay.
Open brackets.
Okay.
Then it spreads it spread people,
Okay.
comma, and then this is our object now.
New person.
Person,
Yeah.
new person. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So then I think I want to just empty the set name back to
Then we clear
empty
it.
string. Yeah. Clear out.
Now be person. Uh,
This is just fine.
what's name?
Just set name to an empty string.
Okay.
So yeah. So let's see. Let's see what this gives us. And my hot reload is okay. Okay, so we have this. And again, we have, so this works. This works fine. So we are using state. We are doing this. We're using state. We are doing this. And oh, that's true. I'm supposed to bring in my modal. So I'm supposed to just have a modal here. All right. So this modal, I'm just going to create a state for it. Is modal open. And then we have sets modal. Okay. So use states. What are we giving it? What's going to be the default value? I need you guys to follow me. What's going to be the default
Is it
value?
false or I think false.
False. Yeah, so false. So we now want to display this using a short circuit, right? So we'll say is modal open, and is modal open is expecting a true. So if his modal open is available, we now want to show the modal. I need to confirm what is inside that modal. So okay, so I think I just need to change this to something else for now. So I'll just say I am expecting and I okay, so let's try this out again. Go back here. So what we need to confirm something. So before we are able to do this thing, we just need to check something. And I will just say if name, So we're just going to do a validation check so that someone does not submit empty string for me. Or so that you don't submit an empty input for me. So if this, and I move this, open it and off. So I also want to do else. Okay. So I want to, I just want to do set is modal open. Yeah, I just want to set this to true. And then I also want to do that here to set this modal open. I just look. So if I have an input, show me something. If I do not, you will also show me something. So let's try it. Let's go back here. And I just put something. I'm expecting an item. And then when there is nothing, I'm also expecting an item. So, well, we're not updating the contents of this. We're not using states to update it. We're going to do that using useReducer instead. So we will understand what happens. So using states, this is what it is. This is what it is. And let me just put a label here. This is looking like fast. Name. Okay. I do this, I also need to pass an ID. When you do HTML4, you also need to do this. ID is equals to name. I just need info. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So for some reason this guy is not working. Why is it not working? Where's my margin top now? Still not getting the margin top at all. Okay. Okay, I have it there. I think I also need on my button too. So okay, one bracket. Listen. Okay. Oh, and it's looking foggy. Okay, let me just reduce this. I really intend to do sliding here. All right. So that we don't get lost. Yeah, so this is just my inputs and all of that. Okay, so what are we trying out again? So we understand the way the normal using use state works. So how is useReducer better, or how does it simplify life for us? So let's see. So useReducer is similar to use states, in its own way. Why is that? So if we're working with useReducer, you're still going to be doing the whole destructuring. Const, there you have your states. So you have your states. Then you have a dispatch. And we said this can be any name that you want. You can actually use any name. But the common convention is to use dispatch because, well, it makes more sense using dispatch. It sounds, if I use banana instead of dispatch here, it won't make, like, it doesn't even make sense. So, but you can use any name. So far as you use it correctly, the implementation works. What if somebody else wants to use the code? Does the person understand what you're doing? So that's the thing. So you have a state, you have dispatch, because we're going to be using dispatch. We're going to be sending out riders, dispatch riders, which is, well, actions. We'll be sending out actions, and then we'll use those actions to perform some tasks. So we have state, we have dispatch, and they are coming from, the way we bring in your hooks. So useReducer. Now, useReducer expects two things. Two things. Number one is it expects the reducer function, and we are going to create that user. And it's also expecting a default state. Default state. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, awesome. I didn't see you earlier. Okay, so we have reducer and then default states. So these ones, what we are going to do is you have to create these things. You have to create the reducer function. You have to create. So we're going to create the reducer function. We're also going to create states. And these are happening outside. So they're not happening inside here. So you need to do them outside. So you do const reducer. I can spell reducer. Oh, vocabulary is suffering. Okay. So yeah, we have a reducer function now, which is what we are using inside here. And then we also have our default state. So let's see. Default. So I'm going to just do a const and then default state. Okay, which is just going to be an object. And as the name implies, it's just going to manage our state for us instead. So here I'll just be defining a few things. So remember we had people coming from here, your states. So you have people, so people you just set an empty array. And then you have use model open and spell. And if it's not slow, so it's model open, I will just set it to a default of false. And then you have modal content. Okay, modal content, and I will just say something good. Okay, so yes and yes and yes. So we have reducer, we have default states, which are being tied to this. So we are bringing this from outside, and then we're using it inside our reducer. Now, this reducer needs two things actually. First is the states. So it needs the states. So because you're going to be manipulating your states inside there. You also need action because, well, we said we're going to send dispatch riders. So we need those two things inside the reducer. Then we need reducer here and then the default state. So now, interesting. So we just want to, and the thing with reducer is that the thing with reducer is that it is a function that takes the actions, it takes in the action, and then it returns a state to you. It returns a state to you. Very important. It returns the state. What is the current state? What do you need at this instant? So okay, so what we are going to do now is that we are going to return states. So by default, we're just returning. You'll have to always return your state inside here. All right, so let's see. Let's see what we've done so far. So we want to be able to use this state. Want to be able to use this default state instead of using our state here, what we already have. I'm just going to comment this out. So we are going to use the default state there, and we are going to use it to manage our work. Let me just leave people.
So I want to ask, sorry, that state,
Yeah.
can it be any other name? State dispatch, that state, can it be any other name?
It can be any other name.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just variables name. It's just variable name. Yeah, so you can just give it. But just common convention is just to use this. That's just. Yeah, what other question you want to have?
Hello. Okay. My question is, then how do we differentiate this state from that of the user state?
Okay, so this one here, you mean this and this?
Yes, and this, yes.
This is a parameter. These are just this is a parameter.
Okay.
Yeah. So from this one now, from here, which is referencing this default state. So it just picks up the default state, throws it inside here, and then you're able to play around with it. It picks this as a parameter. So this default state goes inside here as the state. And then the actions comes from the dispatch. The states and this. So this dispatch plays along with this action. So we'll see how it works. We're actually going to see how it works. So, but then let's manage our states first. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, we don't have is modal open. So what we'll do is we're just going to do, states dots is modal open. So referencing the states. So this is making reference to this. So reference. So states picks this states, which goes to this states. Now finds what is the value of the is modal open. It is false here. So definitely our modal is not going to open. Okay, so then what else? So people here, we are going to do states dot people. Okay. So I am just going to, yeah, so I'm just going to remove this because, well, we are not using this. So what I'm just going to do now is, what I am going to do now is that I am just going to dispatch. So I'm going to call dispatch coming from here. So I'll say dispatch. So when you're calling dispatch, and then something else I want us to know is that this is where Redux toolkit stemmed out from, because here you're kind of doing the whole dispatch, you're doing a couple of things. So this is where like Redux came out from, useReducer and so on. So this is where it came out from. So when you're doing this, what you do now is you're sending an action, you're dispatching an action. Now this action is an object which has a type. So it has a type. And the common convention is to use capital letter. Okay. So we are dispatching this. Now you need to go into your reducer and you're going to manage this with if action or type. So remember, we said our action is an object. So this is coming inside here. Yeah. Let me just console log this anyway. Console. So okay, console.log. And I want to do states so that we see what's going on. States, then action. And in doing that, what also, and I'm like testing. And I think I would just like to console log this inside here. All right. Okay, so let's try it out. I open my console, I'll just clear this. I just do this and I click. Okay, so this is what we are getting now. So we are getting people with an array. We're getting this. We're getting the modal content, and then we're getting type of testing. Why is it coming out twice? Okay. I think it's just the strict mode doing its thing again. Okay, so this is what you get. So this is what you get when you're passing the state, you're passing the action. So what this is doing is when you're dispatching, you're sending a type with a name. So you're now using that inside your reducer to check what you want to do. So if the type is this, do this. If not, if not, you have to throw, you can throw another state. So instead of returning states, well, let's say else, let me just dispatch something else here. So let's just say I did something like this. Okay, so this, and now that is not uh oh, let me just do this here. And I should just have done this. I should just have duplicated this and put here. Okay, so let's try this out. So hmm, okay, so instead, I think this is where I'm actually supposed to do this. Okay, okay. So if there is a name, you're supposed to do this, else to, okay. So let's go back here. So we don't have anything here. We don't have anything here. So I will just click on this. So the name, this thing is test. The action type is test. And we are still getting the state as it is. We're still getting the state as it is. So let's say, for instance, we don't want to just return state here. We want to throw an error instead of just returning states. So let's say we made a mistake in our action type name. So I'll just say throw new. So throw new error. And the type. Okay, so the message, we're just going to pass a message here, and we're just going to say no matching action type. So we're just going to throw this error. So if we have a name, I'm just going to set this back to testing. Else, if we don't have that, we're just going to do something else inside here. And I'm actually expecting an error. I hope that works. Okay, so I'm just going to click here, and yeah, everything goes bananas. So I was expecting this error. So what is happening here is you're checking the type. So there's actually no input. So because there's no input, because there's no name, you're now running this for the else statement. And then you're sending this test. Now this test comes inside this reduce and it's looking, I can't see an action type of test. I can't see an action type. So the only alternative to do is just to go to this and then throw this error. So that's what happens here. That's what actually happens here. That's what happens here. And okay. So I don't know, is anybody confused so far? Because I actually need us to be following me little by little and getting these things. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay. Austin, which you mean inside? You mean here? Yeah, really need. Okay. So let's try this argument. Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so let's see. Interesting, an interesting theory. So I put an input, I submit. Oh, okay, okay, all right. So I need an else here. String. Is that what you mean? So let me try this. String breaks. No property of undefined is model. Okay. Is that the error that I was getting earlier? Let me see. Because I actually know what is happening now. I just, why did I do that?
Okay, sorry, check your dispatch.
So
If you're actually sending your dispatch.
yeah, it's here. Yeah, so I'm doing this. Let me just confirm because I need to. I feel like the if still work, for matching action type. Okay, okay, okay. So that's when it's empty. And let me fill in something here. Okay. Okay, so I'm supposed to have this inside and else. That be a scenario, no matching action type. If name. Let's test. And this should check this. Why is it doing this? Okay. So I have value here. And I click on this. No matching action. Okay. I don't know. Felt like this should work. Okay, 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 okay. So it picks this, and then there's actually no matching type here. So it throws this error. But there's a value. Okay, Austin, I don't know. let me get argument because I'm not doing this first. Even without the else block, why did you do this first? This is what you actually meant because I know I have this name. Okay. Okay, so I don't know why it's not checking. Let me just confirm. There's testing here. And it's actually sending testing. So why? Is it? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. This is really strange because I'm actually checking my action type here, and my action type is actually printing right. There's something I'm missing. Well, I have a value. Okay, so let me just manage it with. I'll manage my state here with, I'll manage it with, I'll just manage it with an else block instead. And this is, okay, so let's see. So I have my value, I click on submit. All right. Okay, so, well, the testing runs. Testing runs. If name. All right. This is just something strange. Okay, but let's just go on. So I'm just managing it with this else. I actually felt like this if alone should work without an else block. The else, that's if the, okay, that's strange.
Okay, sorry. You can use a return.
Yeah.
A return after the console.log just to get out of the function.
Okay, okay, yeah. So okay, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. You're actually just supposed to return. Normally, you should return state here. Okay, but let me just
Oh.
use return. Yeah,
All right.
I'm
So no need for
gonna
the else.
yeah, no
Okay,
need for the else. Yeah, thanks for that. I think that was the decision because it kind of continued on to the next line. JavaScript. Actually step by step, step by step. Okay, so I have a value, I submit. Okay, so I now have another problem. So normally you're supposed to return something. You're supposed to return something inside this. Yeah. So I think that was it. I actually thought that without the return that this will work. But what happens with code is that yeah, if you're not jumping out of this point, yeah, if you're not jumping out of this point, then it goes down to also do this regardless of what your if statement is doing. So you're supposed to like jump out of. So now the other problem that we're having is that we are not even returning anything. So our state goes bananas. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? So the way that we can mitigate this or stop it is can just say state. So we return state inside here. So let's go back. So that's why you're seeing its modal. It's wondering what its modal is. And there's undefined its modal. So it does not know what is going on. So what we can do is just do this, click on this, and you see we still have our state as it is. This is just console login. But then you want to do more than this. You want to do and this. So what we can do is what we can do. Yeah, so before we get to that point, so I just need to pass a prop inside here. Remember, we have our modal, we're supposed to pass our modal content inside here. So back this in as form of modal content, and then we pass states dot modal content. So we know that we are managing our life and everything. So I put gibberish and I do this. Yeah, so nothing happens actually. Nothing happens because we are supposed to like set our state. Our state is when you return your state, you know this is modal this thing is false. They have something huge. We're not even doing anything inside here. So that happens. So let's just play around with this now. Now the thing so I'm going to replace this testing. So testing was just so that we see what is happening. So what we want to do here now is we want to add an item to our list. So I'm just going to say, I'm just going to do add. I'll just say person, supposed to be capital. Okay, so add person. Now, the thing with add person is that it also takes a payload. So, or with dispatch rather, dispatch takes a payload too. So that payload, now we finish doing our computation inside here, or we can do it above anyway. So payload, and payload is what? New person. Ouch. Okay, so new person. So this new person, we're going to send it inside here, and we're going to get action. So let's try this out again. Yeah. So we have so let's see what happens now that we have this. So we are dispatching, we put some value, we click on this. Of course. Okay, so no action type. Why do we have that? Why do we have that? The value there.
Okay, I think you didn't change
Oh,
the
yeah. Yes, thank you. Okay, so yeah, it's looking for this, it's not seeing it. So it's not wondering, hey, where are you? All right, yep. Yeah, I hope every other person is also following along. So you make mistakes, you learn. That's the way it goes. Okay, so you see now, I have a payload inside here. So my action has a payload, and that is the name. So this name is inside here. So what I would like to do is, there are different ways you can actually do this. Well, I'm doing this inside here. I could also have done it inside here to simplify my life. Okay, but then, you start with homework today again. Please let's follow this thing small. If you get stuck at any point, please call my attention. I'll explain it and we'll be fine. So yeah, now so let's just do it with this method first. Then I'm going to show you the other method. So I'm going to return, instead of returning just state like this, I am actually going to do this. So I will just say, let me just leave this. I will say I'm returning an object. I would say I'm returning I'll just say const updated people. So people should pay attention because eventually now everything will come out for me. So const updated people, which is just going to be my arrays. And then I am spreading. Somebody says it's CGPA, it's falling. States. So I'm doing states dot people. Are you going to make first class or second class or third class? I mean, a pass. So I'm spreading people, and then I am putting action dot payload. So I have this. So if I do this now, what I'm just going to return, I'm going to return, what am I returning? So I'm going to spread states, first of all, because I want to get back everything and then update only the necessary ones that is needed. The first thing I'm going to get is, well, I've already updated my people here. So I'll just bring back updated, okay? Update people. And I'm setting it to what updated people. And is modal open? I am going to set this to what? True. And what again? Modal content. So I'm basically copying what was in my state. And I'm just going to say new person added. Okay, so let's try this out. I hope we are good. All right, so I will just say John Doe. And I will click on my submit. Oh, what happened? Something is broken. People that map, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So I have a problem down here. I do not do states here. All right, so let's go again. Okay, let's do this. And automatically this updates. Automatically we add this. Okay. So I don't know if is anybody confused up to this point? Please ask your question now. Ask your question now.
All right, sir, Mr. Ogoshik, well done. What I would like
Yeah.
you to do for me is from the point where you declare the variable const state dispatch, many things has happened now, but now we have a consigned stock. Can you just go over on that point where we now create another recall reducer again as a function and just explain what they are doing? The default state. I was asking the other time, that default state, is it the same thing as, is it what is going inside our dispatch? And then the reducer, is it standing in for our state? Is it like when we, I don't know. Do you get my point?
Okay. Yeah, I think I get your point.
So like try to clarify the air around all these things now. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. useReducer is reducing. Okay, so let's see. All right, so this is just it. So first of all, you just destructure your state and your dispatch. Now you call your useReducer. Remember we said it takes two functions. Now this reducer is supposed to be outside. It's not inside here. It's outside because eventually we are going to move our reducer to a separate page. Now the other thing is you now need to define what you want. Like you need a default state. Now this default state, if I hover on this, kind of see that it references your default state outside. So you have your default state outside where you kind of give like the inputs that you want to be updating over time. So you want to be updating them like the people's array, the is modal state, the modal content. So remember, we had an initial state of something huge. Alternatively, it could just be an empty string. So this is referencing this. This reducer is referencing this because this reducer here is what we are taking now. Remember something. So we did this. These two things are actually entering here. Sorry, not this, the state rather, state and dispatch. So state is here. Your dispatch, however, it does not go in here directly. So what it does is that you use it to call, where is it? Use it to send an action. So this is an action. Your action is an object. So use it to send an action. Now that action has two things, a type and a payload. Now this payload is optional. So you can just send just the type, but the type is like the most important thing. Now, when you do that, this dispatch, like I said, sends the action. So it doesn't have anything to do with this. But this state is the state that goes here. So this state, now there's a kind of connection. So this state picks this guy. Now this guy is sent to this guy. So there's just that kind of that connection between them. And then your action, so you do dispatch. So your dispatch sends an action. Now the action is you need to specify what you're trying to do within this block. What are you trying to do? So you're trying to add a person here. Now for you to add a person here, for you to manipulate this array, this people array that is here in the default state. So default state is an empty array. For you to manipulate it, you need to send in a payload. Now the payload is what you're getting from this. Where you're getting from, like, is the name. So we eventually did, okay. We created an object that has the ID, and then we gave it an ID. And then there's the name. So this forms the new person. So the payload is this object, this new person object. Now, when we send this, we send the type, we send the payload. Now it comes here. This action now, it comes inside. Now you're using an if statement. You're saying if the action type, remember, we are sending the type, and the type is what? Add person. And inside here, we now have a payload, which is what? An object. So you now bring this in. When you bring this in, it now checks if the action type is add person. So what I'm expecting to do is I will add this person. So this person here, this is the payload. The payload is an object. So I'm adding this payload to the existing people, and I'm forming a new array. So I flatten this. I flatten people. I append this new person that is coming here, the object. and then I create a new array to get updated people. Now, when you're returning, remember I said there's no way you will do this without returning state. You always have to return a state. If you're not returning state, you have your app will break. So you need to return state. So you're flattening out states. This is what an object, and you can flatten an object. So you're flattening this out. Now we've updated people. So people here is referencing these people, and then we are replacing it with this new updated people. All right. Now is modal open? Yeah, it was false. But now you are returning true for it because you want it to be open. And then the modal content is changing from something huge to new person. So this is the state that you're returning for this particular action. I don't know if you understand what I have said so far.
Yes, kind of a lot of connections there. So I will practice and try to get it right.
Oh,
These connections between
okay.
them
So
is much.
yeah, yes, it's just the connection is not really a lot because you're doing states. This state now, this states. Just know
Yes.
that you're passing reducer first of all. Now reducer is
Okay.
referencing the external one. But this state is referencing this default state.
Okay.
Okay? It's referencing this default state. Okay, so when as it's referencing this one, which is eventually this, it is this. Now, when you want to update a state after performing an action, you're just using this state, which is what you're passing as a parameter here.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're passing this state as a parameter. Just imagine this. You just imagine these two things here. But it's just that you're not passing, you can't pass dispatch inside here. You can only pass the action inside here. So this and this are these two things.
Okay.
So state is this one, action is dispatch. But the thing is dispatch, dispatch, you have to send dispatch in as an object. That's just what is happening. These two things are just your parameters that you're passing inside the reducer. So you always have to reference this reducer. So as you're passing it inside, and then you now do the whole check. You now return state. You always have to return this state, return it. Then update the necessary ones that you just need to update. That is just it. So if there's no matching the same, you're throwing an error here. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think it's a little bit now.
Yeah, Yusuf. Please ask your question.
Sir, I want to ask, is it that the action payload is added
Yes.
to the state, then it is now the action payload that is controlling the state? Is it like that?
Yes. Well, and not exactly. So what is happening is that when you send the payload here, which is an object, so this object, this action that you're seeing here is an object. So that's why we're doing action.state. Eh? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So this action, that's why we are referencing, is an object. So we're doing action.payload inside here. So action.payload. You're now updating the people state. It's more like you're doing a push into state.people, which is an empty array. But what we are doing is that we are flattening the states. So if it's empty, well, we return empty, and then we append or add this new one inside here. And then we update people here. Remember, it's an object. So we update people here with what's updated people. And then we change the other ones accordingly. So the payload, you just need it to update your array. you need it to update your array, and then you now fill out the necessary things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right. So then there's that. I don't know. Does any other person have a question?
Yes, I have a question. The
Okay.
Can we have multiple actions or type, like more than one?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
We're actually going to do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, so this is this one. I'm just going to do if action so just do action.type, and then you want to set it. You want to set it into, so we just want to call a no value, should be capital. All right. So I'm just, instead of dispatching tests, I'll just do a no value. Okay, so no value. We don't need a payload for this. We don't need a payload for this. So what's happening now is, so if we don't have a value, we click on submit and do submit. And so this is called, so it now dispatches this one. What do we want to do? So we're just going to, well, still return our states. Is what an object. So what we want to do here is we want to return, yeah, we are returning states. And what else? Our people array will still be as people, as empty array. And what are we going to do? Okay. So let's see. So I think there's something funny here, but yeah, I'll come to that. The other thing, if this is this, so we want to set our is modal. Okay, so I'm not even supposed to bring this. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So because if I brought that people as an empty array, to now have to clear what I already have. If I already had a value before, it now set it back to the other state. But then when you flatten out, so it just takes the last change that you made and updates only the parts that you require. So it's modal open is going to be what? True. And then we're just going to give a modal content. So we're just going to give a modal content of, please, as polite as we can be, add a value. I think value, if I can spell value, on values. So this should be a comma. So I'm only updating the necessary one. So my model is going to open, my model content is going to change, and then my state, I just flatten it out. What is wrong? Okay, so I think I did something. We are returning. What did I not do right? If it is this.
I don't know. I'm seeing codes at the back of your return. It just feel like that. On line 17.
Okay. 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 So what am I not doing? Okay. So where is this action supposed to be? Let me remove this first. Get my life out. Okay. So is this it? It was simple. Okay. Oh, so
Like
okay,
in the
yeah.
code behind it.
You could have said backtick, and I would just understand. I was seeing that and I'm wondering, is that an indentation problem or something? Okay. Okay, makes sense. So let's test this out. Let's test this out. Interesting. Okay, so I don't have a value. I click on this. Wow, it's telling me I'm expecting an item. Oh, we've not passed. Oh, we've not replaced this.
Our state.
Yeah, we've not replaced this modal content. It's actually supposed to be dynamic now, right? Okay, so we now have this added value. So let's just do it one more time. We have this add a value. So that is that. And reason, so we can have multiple actions. We can have multiple action types. So this is just one of them. We're also going to do like, well, when you want to remove. So let's see, what else are we not doing here? What else are we not doing here? We're able to add, we're able to, so let's try adding one more time. I do this guy, I put new person added, I do again, like new person added, I do again. All right, cool, interesting. So
I have a contribution like after adding the new person, that model goes up, like something like that.
okay. So you want to do that. All right. So let's do that. So let's try and do that. Okay, so for us to do that, okay. For us to do that, what would have to do is we're going to hmm, okay. Okay, so we are going to dispatch Another one. Going to dispatch another one. So what we are going to do is we're just going to write. So this code, this what we're going to do now is we're going to try to dig into. We're going to try to dig into our listen. What do they call it? So I'm going to do const close modal. I'm not going to pass it as a prop. So close modal. And what this is going to do is, well, let's see. So we're going to just dispatch another one. So we'll say type is what? I'll just say close modal. Request to leave this thing. Okay, so close modal. So what this does is, let me just copy this. Easy. I'll just say if action type equals to those model, then what we like to do. So
And set the model content so maybe an empty string.
oh, well, yes. So we're just going to return state. Even though it's not going to show. So we're just going to do anything. So when you spread out, you just spread out your state. First of all, you spread out your state and you just okay. So let's see. So spread out state first. Where's that? Actually, the content is not well. Just that's just for formality's sake, sure. But I think it's actually a right thing to do. So it's model. It's model open. We will just set this to false and model content. Let's set this to empty string. Interesting. Okay, so close model. So we have this now, but we need to pass in this we need to pass it in. So what is our model? So I'm just going to say close model equals to close model. Okay, so I go inside this guy and I'll just use effects. Which will like simple life. Okay. So let's say after like 3 seconds, I'll just use set timeout. And right, set timeout. What does this do? Who is mixing this thing up? Okay. Okay, so after 3,000 milliseconds, want to call, oops. Right. I want to just call close modal. Oh, this is it. And why am I doing this outside here and nobody's telling me anything? God of mercy and compassion. Okay. Okay. Why is it even requiring this dependency? Well, let's see. I hope this works. It's strange, by the way. Okay, so that worked. So what I'm doing is that immediately this modal, this thing is mounted. Austin. So immediately that model, this model is mounted. You count, you just count 3 seconds and then you call close model, which is referencing, remember, remember is referencing this guy, this close model here. So when it does that, it closes them, it returns this state. So your model goes back to being hidden and all of that. So I believe we understand what happened here now. Do we understand what happened? Oh, my prop validation will finish me. So yeah, so eventually set timeout. Yeah, this calls this after 3 seconds and it references this and triggers the close modal from the other side and it removes this. Let's see. So that happens, that happens. And the last set of things I would like to do is just to do the remove. So let's just go on, let's do the remove. And so I'm just going to copy this. Did I cut it out? Oh, I know, wonderful. So just go below and yes, I wanted to evict people, remove person. Okay. All right. So we're just going to do, so remove person. We're going to create a button now. And I'll just say button. On click. So on click. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, so on click. Let's So on click, I just call dispatch and I acting up. CSS has to have one element. You let peace reign. Let the poor breathe. Okay, so what's happening? There's no key. Okay, so this key has to move up. Okay, so dispatch, and we pass in what's action, type rather, type. Our type here is what? Remove person. And we have to pass what? Payload, right? All our payload
Yes.
is. Yeah. So what will our payload be now? Help me out, help me out. You know, carry me go. I don't know. Payload. Bad guy. Okay. So the payload is what? Person dot ID. Yep. So when we click on this, let's see. So we are coming back inside here.
Is it
So when we
people
get,
the ID or person the ID? You wrote people.
yeah, thanks for what's in that. Mind me, so much sugar. Okay, so I get here, spread. Okay, first things first, what is going on? What do I need? What do I need? So I need to, what am I going to do here now? Let's updated people equals to what's going on. I need to do dates dot people help me out. Filter. What is going on? So I want to filter what person and the person dot okay is not equals to what?
Hmm.
What is that?
Hmm.
You're just filtering for crying out loud. Say the people that filter the person that ID is not equals to it's not equals to what?
Wow.
Action,
So
action. Good. So then I still need to bring back my people here and replace it with what? Updated people, right? Am I right? Yep. So let's see. Let's try it out. Let's try it out. Put this guy. Where's my button? I did not put any text in my button. First thing.
you are overwhelmed by the by the logic.
Logic down too much. Here I go. Okay. I'm actually just supposed to do this. Oh. But the logic is not, it's just the same this thing now. Payload is what? You're just passing in the ID. What you would normally do if you're doing Java, if you're using states. So you're passing this. You're now saying on click, you're dispatching this. I even need to test whether this works. So you're dispatching. So the same way you would work with a use with the sets anything, sets array or anything. So you're calling dispatch, you're passing the type of remove person, you're passing the payload, which what do you need to do a remove? You need the person's ID. Now inside here, all you need is, okay, you get the people, because this is the people array that you want to, you're deleting the person from the people array now. So you're calling what? State.people. And then you're filtering. You're filtering people that the ID is not equals to the action.payload, which you're passing inside. So when you do that, you store it in a state, and then you automatically bring it inside here. I don't know if you understand.
Okay, so I have a question. The payload, is it more like a convention, or can you give it another name?
Okay. I don't even know why you guys are thinking. Okay, why you even thinking? But this will kind of break our app now. We have to Yes, you're just passing an object inside. So that means everywhere I have action, now I need to change it. I mean, everywhere I have payload, I need to change it to it. Where else? So let me just do this. Oops.
We did payload.it instead of it dot
Action dot it. Okay. At first payload. Okay. Where else did I? Okay, I did this. So please add a value. I put this. So the distance is just you're just passing parameter. You're defining an object. So whether you put banana or monkey or anything, so first, whatever you pass here, but just that for technical sake, please just use payload. Like it makes more sense to use payload. And I don't know what else you would like to use. For professional reason, just use payload. To get, do you understand? Are you clear on that?
Yes.
So if I want to remove, I can remove. And then you can also set your states. Where is it? So instead of this, you just say maybe item remove or person removed. Let me just, you have to set this to true. So that's just it. That's just the thing. So I think that's just basically it. That's everything. I don't know if anybody has any questions so far.
It's not really a question. Can you push all this to record?
Yeah, definitely.
Rate and push. Oh,
Okay. Okay, so let me just do that. So I'm expecting questions. So I'm expecting questions. Gate status, because this is the next thing that we're going to do. Status. Go and watch it very well. Go and watch it very well. Ask questions if you are unclear. git add all. Oh, by the way, there's something I'm missing. So sorry, just a minute. So what we are supposed to do is what we are supposed to do is we're supposed to move this out because yeah, you see the block of the chunk of this and that. So there are some distance that you can actually that this actually takes like a whole lot of space. You're supposed to like move it to somewhere else, move it to somewhere else. So what I could do is I could just so I could either move it to my utils. That even makes sense. That even makes sense. I don't want to put in components. I'll just create a file inside my src new file. I'll just call it user. Yes. So I'm just going to say export const, and I just put this here. So I remove this one const. So then again, so if I do this, save, come back here. I'm just going to do import reducer. Okay, so let's try this out. I hope it works. Spider-Man. Yep, it works. Works. And remove. So that works. That works. I'm actually supposed to remove the console logs, but I'll leave it. I'll do git add all. So that's like for you to keep your space clean and all of that, you can move it to a separate file, just import it and use it. Okay, so I think maybe from the next class or so, most of all we have to go into we'll start playing around with Tailwind because eventually that's all we'll use building a couple of our stuff. And talk about prop drilling, we'll talk about what again? Yeah, context. So let's push. Okay, so any other question? Any other question? So far, so good. Okay, so I've actually pushed it. I've pushed it so we can all go there, check out. Uh, yeah, I think that's fine. I'm actually removing this. Yeah, so fast. Just do the work anyway. So far as you're getting the knowledge is better than that CGPA, blah blah blah. All right. So any other question? Any questions so far? Okay. So in the absence of questions, don't worry, just wait. Have you not been graded? Just okay, okay. So yes, nice one that you brought this up because I think that's the next lesson that I actually wants you guys to do. So what you're going to do now, I'm just saying it here before I go and put it on the LMS dashboard, is what you've done with your app, the app that you built, the last one that you built. Create another one separate from this. Use useReducer instead of states that you've been using. So that's like your next task. Whether you had said it or you did not say it, that was the next thing to do. So I actually want, that's why I said everybody should come to class so that you will understand what's going on. So I'm actually going to put that on the LMS dashboard. So the app, the last app that you created, go and use useReducer to do it instead. Okay? So you have from now till probably Sunday or so. Just figure out how to do it. Figure out how to do it. You can, I think it's actually a good way to learn useReducer. From now till that Sunday is not enough time. What will you be doing with your time? Okay. So I think yes, that is where I will draw the curtain. Except anybody.
Sorry,
Yeah. Okay.
some tasks have not been graded.
Okay. I would still follow up. I'll still follow that up. Yeah. So I'll do that. So that's not a problem. Yeah, I'll do that. So any other stuff? Any other thing? Okay, I think that is where I draw the curtain. Okay, no problem. I'll do that on the elements dashboard. Wishimo. Ah, all right, I'll grade that. All right. Yeah. All right, have a nice day, guys. Take care. Bye.